Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. You can see the portal is alight with the purple hue, meaning it is once again times for 2 times void, but not just any 2 times voids. There's also a 10x going on for Siphi, the Lost Bride. Now, as a proud owner of a Rotos myself, it would be extremely advantageous, particularly in live arena, to have a Siphi of my very own to pair with them, and thus be able to just lose Rotos and or Siphi in every single live arena fight. But nonetheless, it would be cool to have her on my account, so let's see. Is RNGesus going to gift me a Siphi, assuming we get a legendary at all? But of course, I do always pull with a purpose. I don't like to waste shards if I'm not getting something in return. So this is the champion chase going on right now. It's a pretty standard one. Unfortunately, there's no energy nodes, but they do have soul coins, the Titan event points, which are reasonably low, to be honest, at 1550. They could have been at the fusion level of 2500. We get the same legendary tomes here at 3000 and 5500, and they added a mythical at 7500. Now, I am in the somewhat unique position here where I did skip the last 2 times voids. I did not participate. I think that was during one of a deck of fate or something like that, and I prefer to have guaranteed rewards like this versus flipping a card and hoping to get something good. And so I have twice as many shards as I normally would have acquired in that period between 2x voids, and so I'm thinking of something more along the lines of pursuing the second legendary tome 5500 as opposed to the normal 3000, because we do have a little excess of shards. And I totally understand how weird it sounds to say slightly more when we're talking about a person who has nearly 300 void shards, but I'm talking about the incremental growth of void shards over time being slightly larger than before because I did skip a 2x voids. So obviously I have a large amount in total, but we're saving up for hopefully more guaranteed events if they ever make their return and stuff like that. So I do want to be aptly prepared in case those come up, or for situations like this where I feel that I have the capacity to pull a bit more than normal with the goal still in mind. So while we're here, let's take a look at the shard count overall. We're just over 500 on the ancients, 294 on the voids, 9 on the primals, and 68 on the sacreds. But of course, we are focusing on the voids for today. As usual, let's check out the mercy tracker that I use to track all of my shards. It will be linked in the description box down below if you want to check out the base form of the sheet. This is my personal adaptation, but we're focusing here on this line where we are 142 voids away from mercy. So a legendary is by no means guaranteed. We're kind of praying to the RNGesus gods here to make something happen, and if it doesn't, then so be it. We just keep building up shards towards mercy. As far as who we're looking for in this session, obviously I would take a Siphi because she's featured in the 10x, but aside from her, Yumiko, of course, for all the shenanigans in dungeons, as well as using the lockout in arena would be very, very handy, or just to have an auto ban pick in live arena would be also nice, so they don't ban some of my few DPS champions, but I digress. Also, Sulfurion, it looks very, very interesting to me as a support slash damage dealer for Hydra Clan boss, so that would be cool to have. As far as the epics are concerned, there's a couple that come to mind. Skrank, mentioned him a few times over the months and years, that AoE HP burn in the Ogre and Tribes would just be handy for when they do challenge tournaments like the ones going on right now for Ogre and Tribes and Spider or something like that. It'd be nice to have that in my back pocket as an AoE HP burn if I needed it. And then of course Weregrin, I believe is his name, for the fusion here. Obviously I'll take the rares, but if he can just give me the epic, then I could skip all the leveling. So I would take either the rares to fuse him or him, the epic himself. All right, so let's get into the pulls. We've got the space, we've got some cash, and let's see if we have the grace of the RNG gods. Here we go. First 10 pop in the bag. Oh, the points are popping up earlier than normal. That's unfortunate. So 500 does mean that it is an all rare set, and hopefully one of them is a fusion rare. Does not look like it's the case. Let's see, anyone to mention here? I guess Bellower, one of the like OGs, early game, mid game champions. I mean, I guess Endgame too, if you want to use them in secret rooms. AoE on every ability, weak versions of decreased attack, decreased defense, as well as decreased speed. So it's better than nothing, and blocked active skills on the A1 as well, which honestly is one of the stronger parts of the kit. So definitely a champion that you can run in a stun set, particularly for secret rooms, or if you happen to get him early, he can just still do the same job in a stun set. Painkeeper, of course, very famous for reducing cooldowns in Demon Lord Clan Boss teams, as well as Iron Twins teams. Starting it off cold. All right, let's turn up the heat a little bit with the second 10 pop here. Yeah, 800. That's not much better. I believe that's 2 epics. Yeah, that should be 2 epics. This is like a math challenge here. We're gonna have to make sure we account correctly. Baradol Fellhammer, not much to say. Oh, 1 epic, my bad. Bad math. Baradol Fellhammer, one of these champions, I keep saying that, I feel like I've said this a lot recently, but he's one of those champions who's annoying as an enemy, but not really that bad, or not really that good when you use him. So he starts every turn with a counterattack, so he's just going to come back in and smack you, which just wastes time. It doesn't hit that hard, but heal reduction. So in the cases if as an enemy, then he can come and place heal reduction, which could be annoying if you don't have a way to get rid of that. Then you can also do decreased defense or whatever, but not a great champion, more annoying as an enemy. And Tree Shield Not, pretty good. I guess both of these, there's 2 good revivers here that are rares. Tree Shield Not, somewhat recent fusion rare, does have a 2 random ally revive, so he's very, very good for Sylvan Watcher's Crypt if you do need a reviver in your team. Also a little bit of a mini heal with the small version, but it's better than nothing. Increased defense, and then a small version of decreased attack on the A1. Again, better than nothing. Gear Grinder, similar role. 5-turn cooldown, revives an ally, 50% HP, 50% turn meter. So if you do need him for Ogryn Faction Wars, he can be very useful, as well as for secret rooms that are Ogryn specific. He can be one of the few revivers in the faction that you might have access to. So clearly we're still warming up, and that's fine. We go from 0 epics to 1 epic, which means that this time we're going to get 2. Nope, we get 1. Okay. Well, I tried to imagine a future where the trend was going to continue here. Let's see which one is going to be the epic. I kind of don't like the numbers popping up early now that it's happened a few times, because it kind of ruins the surprise or the mystique, because you kind of know what's going to happen. Sylar, good champion, I would say overall. Really good turn meter manipulator, because she does have decreased speed, and it drops turn meter by 40%. So that's on a 4-turn cooldown. So this is a great opener for like Dark Fae or something, just to get your team ahead of your mirror copies, for example. Also great in a stun set, because she has an AoE on the A2 and an AoE on the A1. A2 has a decreased accuracy, so pretty solid champion for like early game spider progression, as far as controlling the spiderlings and just overall faction wars as well in a stun set. 2100 points is where we stand currently, and I guess we're just diving into the sunk cost fallacy, because clearly the more I go, the deeper I go, the better it will get, right? 1100, that should be 2 epics in this 10 pop here. Who do we get? White Dryad Nia, pretty decent. I don't think she's that auto-friendly, because even though she has the ability, we can take a look at once the tons finish here. She has this ability here. Where is it? This one where it can fully remove. It's a full cleanse and then a partial heal of the ally, and then it resets the cooldown of their skills by 2 turns. So it's like a renegade, but on a single target with a heal. It can be pretty useful, but it can go anywhere basically if you're running on full auto, just because whoever needs the heal is who's going to get it. It's not who you want it to reduce the cooldowns of. So she's more favorable on a manual setting, but she can still work and generally for like Hydra and stuff like that. Primarily because she does have AoE decreased speed on the A1, as well as ally protection and the weak version of strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. She does also have a pretty cool passive where whenever she's healed, she heals all allies by 20% of that heal. So I personally run mine in a regen set for faction wars purposes, and she just, every time she takes a turn, she heals everyone. So like a mini Scylla of the Drakes, Elva, Autumnborn, Siphi the Lost Bride type of thing going on. Battle Sage has definitely been power corrupt. She does have increased attack and a full cleanse, and the increased attack cannot be removed, but nowadays you really want your full cleanses to have block debuffs, just so you don't get refrozen by a Torment, or you don't get some other CC that can just come in right afterward because you're not under block debuffs. And this ability here is so outdated, but like a single target revive on death, even though it's on a 3-turn duration on a 4-turn cooldown, which means it can stay up for a very, very long time. It's just outdated. Perhaps this could be a very good Sand Devil champion if they made this on an AoE. And of course, we cannot forget one of my favorite rares in the game that I still use to this day, particularly in the Nether Spider, which is Reliquary Tender, because he has one of the best cleanses in the game. I guess I just said Battle Sage isn't that great because hers doesn't provide block debuffs, but this one does provide continuous heals, and I personally run mine in a Relentless set to reduce the cooldown of this whenever she takes extra turns. And then she also does have a single target revive that is extremely weak, admittedly so, 30% HP, 30% turn meter. Usually they fall right back down if she ever has to pick anybody up, but nonetheless, it is a revive, and if you need it early game, it can definitely do the job. Bunch of books on the A1, weak version decrease attack. Don't build her with accuracy. There's no real point. You want to build her with some resistance. So for those keeping score, we're at 3,200 points so far. We're targeting the 5,500. But I do want to make a note here that normally this is where I would have stopped on any other random 2x, because I would have hit the 3,000 points for the first legendary tome. And in this case, it would have costed me 40 voids, which is 10 more than the average. It's usually around 30 in order to get there. So a little bit on the lower side of the RNG curve this go around. But as I said, we've set our sets on the higher target. So let's keep going into the abyss here with another single epic pull. We've got a Cold Heart, of course, the best rare in the entire game, well known for the Heartseeker ability, enemy max HP. So super solid rare there. You've seen a lot of her potentially recently in the Dark Elves Spider Tournament, where a bunch of people were using Lydiad and Quadruple and Cold Hearts to be able to farm that. Stage. Maneater, of course, well known, super popular in Demon Lord Clan Boss for the unkillable teams, all of the Eater teams, Bad Eater, etc. But I also think he's somewhat underrated because he has an A1 here that's kind of like a Padma, if you're familiar with her kit, where as long as he crits, you get AoE decrease attack on the A1 on all enemies. Super solid. All you have to do is crit. And then this ability that's akin to Geomancer and a couple other champions like it, where it'll fully deplete the turn meter, the target's turn meter, and fill this champion's ally by the amount lost. So it's an entire turn meter steal, so super useful for like Ogre Trime's Spider or Fire Knight type content. I guess this is the point where a lot of people would be like, is 2x on? We're not getting that many epics overall. But yeah, we're getting close, but not quite there towards the 5,500. I think we're somewhere under just over 4,000, and 800 puts us just under 5,000. So we should be able to get there in one more 10 pop after this. This is going to be one epic because we already saw the 800 points. Honorable mention to Dagger. She's kind of like a debuffer you can use if you really need it for Bannerlord's Faction Wars. If you don't have Stag Knight, for example, AoE decrease defense, 75% chance to land, not 100%. We do like 100% chance, but she does also have a single target decrease attack, and it's the big version if they're under decrease defense, which she does bring in her kit. And Lua is kind of an interesting champion. She can hit relatively hard, but not super hard, but she does have a AoE triple hitter that heals her, which is pretty neat on a 3-turn cooldown, and she also has a full target full turn meter depletion skill here, 100%, and it also ignores shield and block damage on a 4-turn cooldown. So she can hit pretty hard, but she's definitely not super meta by any means. So this is most likely the last 10 pop of the day, and let's see what's going to happen here. One epic bummer. So no legendary at all, but I guess the bright side is that we are building up Mercy towards something potentially in the future for some sort of 10x. Ethlin the Golden is going to be the epic for this set, who I don't have, so he's definitely new to my account. I believe he has block active skills on a 3-turn cooldown, full AoE, 100% chance when booked. Yeah, looks like it, for 2 turns, which are pretty nice. And then if they're not under it, or I guess if it gets blocked or resisted, it'll try to place True Fear. Not sure exactly when you'd get the True Fear. If they're immune to it, maybe, but champions aren't immune to it, and bosses are immune to both of these things, so not sure when you actually get the True Fear. Let's see, gives himself increased crit damage, increased accuracy, and then grants next return. Okay, that's pretty nice. So it sets himself up to be able to lock out abilities on the A2. So could be pretty strong. I'm not sure if he hits super hard, ignores some defense when he's attacking every single support type champion, or non-attack. I guess that's probably when you need it the most, because you don't really need extra ignore defense to deal with the squishy nukers. So pretty synergistic kit overall, I would say. I guess he's kind of a hybrid of DPS and control. So that should do it for the shard pulls here. Unfortunately, we did not get a legendary, but we should be all the way up to the legendary tome, the second legendary tome in the Champion Chase tournament. So Siphi is not going to be mine. Today was not the day, unfortunately, for myself, but we got the reward that we intended to get. And partially, I am somewhat tempted to just keep going for the 7,500, but we're going to exercise a little bit of restraint here, not get sucked into the RNG hole that we've dug for ourselves. So we're going to target the initial goal, and let's see, 7th place. That's probably not going to hold up. It is 2 times void, especially, oh my God, I didn't even notice that earlier. 44,000 points. He's been yeeting a ton of voids trying to get a Siphi for sure. So today our luck was not on the cards, but maybe next time we'll see what happens when it comes to the shard pulls. Alrighty then, so that's going to do it for this weekend's shard pull session. We did end up getting 2 out of the 4 fusion rares for Weregrin. Obviously we did not pull him from the voids themselves, but we are 1 void rare away, and it's Amarantine Skeleton, which is funny because I've fed so many copies of this champion and now I actually do need him for the purposes of this fusion. But nonetheless, I'm confident that we're going to get him eventually, so basically one of the epics is in the bag, and we're going to keep working on the other ones. I haven't really made any progress on either of these, but I have made progress towards Lockwain here with the last ancient 2x ancients pulls we had. And of course, that means we are walking away without a legendary and thus without a Siphi. But if I put the Mercy Tracker back up there, so you can see we're at now 128, so 72 away from Mercy. So still quite a distance away. I mean, we did pull 70 voice today, which is probably the most I've pulled in a very long time, in fairness. So I gave it a good shot relative to my normal pulling habits. But yeah, still far from Mercy. So we're not really in a good position for a 10x in the future. But I guess we wait until next time, two times voids, and see if we can get unlucky again and get even closer, and then we can go for a 10x. We'll see what happens. Be sure to comment down below if you guys participated in this 2x void and the 10x on Siphi. Let me know if you got Siphi or if you got something else along the way. As always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that like button down below, as well as the subscribe button for more content in the future just like this one. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.